Me with my boyfriend of 4.5 years, he's unwilling to say yes to the little things that make me happy, like a double date with my friends, dinner with my family, etc. For some background, he and I have been together since junior year of high school. We've lived together at his childhood home with his mother and siblings for the past 2 years. Overall, our relationship is pretty harmonious. When I talk to other people about our significant others, I'm usually thanking my lucky stars for the guy that I've got because we are compatible in so many ways and we rarely fight. We all contribute equally financially to the running of the house, and this includes my, obviously, deep involvement in his family dynamic. I'm ever willing to help around the house and contribute positively to the needs of everyone in the household, especially boyfriend. I'm a people pleaser in all dimensions of my life, including our relationship. Boyfriend is not. I often joke that he must have some form of oppositional defiant disorder. I'm aware this is not a joke for those with actual diagnoses, please don't take offense, because it feels as though the majority of the non-essential requests I make of him receive no's in response. Basic things like, can I borrow your laptop? Or will you pick up X on your way home are not the issue, but when I ask about girly, for a lack of a better description, stuff, like going on double dates with my friends or seeing my family, he utterly shuts down with no explanation. I'm never even graced with details like, I don't want to hang out with so-and-so because she annoys me, or your uncle's jokes aren't funny. He just straight up shuts down and says something along the lines of, nah, I'm all set, it's not gonna happen, or flat out, no way. The most recent examples, my family threw a graduation party for myself, college, and my twin cousins, high school. Boyfriend also graduated from college this year, so my mum wanted to take the opportunity to celebrate his achievement as well. She even painted his name on the beautiful congratulations banner alongside mine and cousins, and he was included in the shower of cards and gifts coming from aunts and uncles. It goes without saying that my family has accepted him as one of us in the warmest way possible, and my mother lovingly refers to him as her son. This would be fantastic if boyfriend had been willing to attend the party. I gave him several weeks' notice, even a 3-day countdown if you will. He refused to attend. He refused to justify or give any valid reasons as to why he didn't attend, other than the non-obligatory plans that he had made the same day for the sole purpose of avoiding the party. I was at a loss for how to deal with this, besides attempts at verbal communication when I got home. I showed him the banner. I gave him the cards. I mentioned that my friends, a couple who will come into the story again soon, even brought his favorite beer to share because I'd mentioned it to them in the conversation before. I said how much everyone missed him and how awkward it was for me to continually make up excuses for why he didn't come to a party thrown partially in his honor. In return, I got a half-assed apology and the subject was changed. I remained defeated because I didn't throw the pathetic crying fit that was brewing in my head because those never get anyone anywhere. Fast forward to today. The same couple, I've hung out with them both, talked positively about this boyfriend of mine, they are dying to meet him and haven't yet. Same couple who brought boyfriend's favorite beer to the party that he blew off, suggested a double date for tomorrow night. I asked boyfriend, and his answer was, I'm willing to go out with you, but I don't want to see anyone else. Mind you, he hasn't even met these people, and I've never even had the chance to tell him much about them. We see each other every single day, so it isn't like he misses me and we're lacking alone time. I try several different angles to try and convince him that it could be fun. We've never been to the drive-in before. X cool movie is playing. It's only $6. We can smoke in the car. Jane and John Doe are such good people. I think you'd get along. Brick wall. I'm all set with that. Just stop. Stop. I'm not going, etc. No explanation or justification, no flexibility for different plans or a different night or any compromise whatsoever. Boyfriend is not, never has been, and never will be a whipped guy. And that is the last thing that I'd want from a relationship. We lead independent, productive lives with separate jobs, friends, and school. This has worked for almost 5 years now. I rarely even ask our friend groups to cross, only because I know that this is the result. I'll occasionally tag along on adventures with his buddies, and ultimately see more of his friends at our house than my own group because he invites them over to work on cars, bikes, etc. in our garage/chill spot. And that's just groovy. I like his friends. They are my friends too. But if I try to reverse the situation and invite him out with my friends, co-ed situations, I'm not asking him to join us for mani-pedis at the mall, he refuses to participate. If I have my friends over, he busies himself with anything but what we're doing. The same system applies to his family. If he's seeing relatives or having dinner with parents, I'm almost always involved and welcomed there. If I'm doing the same with my family, it's like pulling teeth to get him to participate. How do I effectively tell him that he's being a complete dick without sounding like just another typical whiny girlfriend? In the comments, The Bird says, "This sounds awful. I hate to be the person who jumps to just break up, but he really doesn't seem like he's considerate of you or your feelings at all in terms of integrating himself into your life outside of his own. He knows these things are important to you and yet doesn't budge an inch. I think you need to have a serious convo about this. Does he have social anxiety, or is it just that he doesn't feel like going? Maybe you can get to the bottom of this and have a compromise, though it doesn't seem hopeful if you have to drag him tooth and nail to participate in these things. Perhaps, though, he doesn't quite see the severity of the issue yet. Can you imagine a future without someone who won't ever integrate your lives fully?" OP says, "On the grand scheme of our relationship, I don't think this is enough for me to break it off. At least not yet. There have been times where he's come along to these kinds of outings, and he was fine after the initial teeth-pulling to get him going. I don't think it's a social anxiety thing, because I'm quite certain that it's him saying to himself, I could sit through a movie with these people I don't know, or I could do X fun thing with my buddies instead. I'm already fully aware that he's selfish in this way, and this is the most detrimental manifestation of his selfishness in our relationship. In many other areas, he does put me first and considers my feelings, and this doesn't go unseen for me. I appreciate the shit out of what he does right, quote-unquote. Maybe that's why this sticks out as so god-awful and painful, because it really is my only consistent complaint. Regarding your last point, that really is the scary part. I don't think I can, and I know better than to demand change." Someone else says, "He does not value your feelings as much as his feelings. My significant other has pretty bad social anxiety, like diagnosed bad, and he sucks it up and does shit that I want to do because he knows it's important to me. Yours is seriously being a jerk. Mine has a panic attack and is like, no, we can go, I just need to calm down. I know how much you're looking forward to this. Yours is like, fuck off, lady. I want to hang out with my friends instead. Your family sucks. Fuck their party." I'm not trying to brag here. I'm trying to illustrate a point. Someone who seriously loves you and wants to be in a partnership with you tries their very hardest to make you happy. He doesn't. OP says, "I appreciate your frank assessment of the whole thing, and my only dissent is that he does try in other ways. He shows his love in so many other places. I just don't know how to make it clear to him that this gap is a fucking important one that needs to be fixed ASAP." When asked about the banner and told that she is being submissive, OP says, "Yeah, my mum hung it up for the whole party to see. I was tempted to take the section with his name down, but it was too late. I don't want this post to reflect too poorly on our relationship because, as I've mentioned in other comments, we're not entirely broken, quote-unquote. Past issues between us that I've addressed have been taken care of head-on, and he does contribute positive effort to the relationship in other areas, just not this one as of late. If your assessment of my submissive role is correct, what's your advice for addressing it? I want to assert to you that I'm not a complete doormat with him. I damn near moved out and left him last summer because of a lack of action on a totally different issue. And when he realized I was serious, he made the changes that needed to be made, and we haven't really fought about much until this point. And when I say we haven't really fought, I mean we haven't fought because there wasn't anything to fight about. I wasn't just sweeping things under the rug for the sake of harmony. We have been having a very harmonious year since this last shakeup. But realistically, I can't just throw around ultimatums and pack my bags every 6 months when I don't get my way. So, how do I shake him back to reality without getting overly dramatic? Is it cognitive dissonance? Is that the word that I'm looking for? The definition: mental stress or discomfort experienced by an individual who holds 2 or more contradictory beliefs, ideas, or values at the same time. I want to say delusional as well, but I feel like cognitive dissonance includes delusion in this instance. I feel like OP is being delusional. OP talks about in this last part that this is the first time in such a long time that the problem has really shown its ugly head. But I disagree. I think she has been rug sweeping for this guy. This is one example of many others where he says, fuck your family, fuck your friends, I'm not doing that. This is just the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't understand how she can believe that their relationship is perfect. He's such an amazing, upstanding individual. And, guys, everything in my relationship is amazing except this one thing. But this one thing's really not that bad, and I don't think we can break up over it because everything else is perfect and he loves me in many other ways. But this one thing's really pissing me off right now and embarrassing me. To me, that's cognitive dissonance. It has to be. If he was so amazing and loving and upstanding, this wouldn't happen. It shows that he is not amazing, he is not loving, he is not upstanding. He doesn't give a fuck about you. How do you shake him back to reality without getting overly dramatic? It's not possible. If someone is like this, and has been like this for a long time, and you have rug swept that behavior because it hasn't been as bad as this instance, I genuinely don't think he's going to stop. I don't think he's going to genuinely change. Whatever change you can get out of him will be temporary. It feels like to me, the I love my friends and I love doing things with them, but fuck doing anything with your friends or your family mindset is a part of who he is as a person. That seems like a fundamental personality trait. I would like to think it's a personality flaw. And to me, that comes down to you guys have fundamental personality incompatibility, and this will come to a head sooner rather than later. I think what he did was incredibly embarrassing to you, incredibly disrespectful, and if you want to remain in a relationship with someone that is not apologetic, does not care, that they hurt you, that they cause shame, that they want to and willingly will embarrass you again in the future, be my guest. But someone like that is not healthy to continue living with and being around. If I were your friend, if I were there in person, I'd say, break up tomorrow. I don't care if the relationship is perfect in every other way. He is not good for you, and you are making excuses to stay with him. And now, on to the update. I just wanted to thank everyone who took the time to respond and offer their advice. After a long talk, the result was to break up because he doesn't feel the same way about me anymore. I'm heartbroken, but my brain understands and accepts his reasons. I don't feel like writing the entire saga out. I just wanted to offer an update and thank everybody who was kind enough to try and help. In the comments, Ashrik says, I'm sorry if I sprinkled doubt on you, but this was as much a cop-out as his previous no explanations. He was never willing to go to these events with you, so it's not a result of change in how he felt about you. So either he never felt that way, quote-unquote, about you, or he was so loath to explain or explore his issue that he saw breaking up as the easier way out. Interesting. Consider the bullet dodged. Quote, hopefully we'll still be friends? I don't understand. To him, you were nothing more than a walking, talking sex toy that paid half of the bills for a long time. He was with you until you started getting upset at his horrendous neglect, and then when you stopped being a prop, by talking about how he made you feel, he decided to finally tell you that he had lost interest in you. Your ex is a shithead. Hopefully still be friends. Still? He wasn't even a friend when they were dating. Yeah, it's not like they're gonna run into each other at parties, unless his friends are inviting her to their parties. The only reason OP was able to see him is because she lived in his family's house with him. Fucking right? Makes you wonder how quickly it would have ended if he didn't have the convenience of a live-in girlfriend keeping him in the relationship. I'm on board with that. Thank you, Mr. PM Me Your Fantasies. I agree, I don't think that relationship would have lasted anywhere near as long as it did had they stayed together. And what an asshole, being like, you know what? The reason we gotta break up is because I don't fuck with you anymore. You know, I don't feel you like that. We just don't have the vibe anymore. You've started calling me out on my shit. You've started questioning my motives and pointing out logical fallacies in my actions and my words. You know what? I just don't like you anymore. You're not the submissive bangmaid that I built you up to be in this household. And how dare your frontal cortex develop and you have now the cognition and ability to question me. Yeah, I think I just don't like you anymore. OP, I don't like this guy. You are better off without him. Stop it with the, oh, I still want to be friends. No, you don't. Again, cognitive dissonance. You're lying to yourself. Stop it. Thank you for the story and thank you for the update. Our next post is by a deleted user, and it's titled, "Would I be the asshole if I told my mum that her dogs are the only ones not allowed on family vacation?" My mum has 2 half Yorkie, half Maltese dogs. These dogs are my mum's world. The problem is, they are obsessed with food. They will go to any lengths to get human food. It started with a bag of barbecue potato chips on my kitchen counter ripped open and devoured, leaving a huge barbecue dust mess. Next was an entire pizza that was snatched off of the table the moment I went to go grab sodas from the kitchen. In the span of less than a minute when I returned, half of the pizza was gone. The dogs were standing in the other half of the pizza, and there was pizza sauce all over my carpet. Next get-together, they found their way inside, even though I asked my mum to keep them in the backyard. They got into my kitchen and tore open 2 bags of hamburger buns and ate around $40 worth of seasoned raw hamburger meat and a block of cheddar cheese. At this point, I told my mother her dogs were not allowed at my house. She has stopped coming by altogether, which does hurt my feelings because if it's a choice between her kid and the dogs, she will always pick the dogs. I'm planning a family vacation. I booked a nice cabin for the whole family to stay in. My sister is bringing her dog, who is a well-behaved female pit, so I know it's going to be an issue when I tell my mum that her dogs are not allowed to come with us. I don't want to spend the whole weekend making sure not a single scrap of food is left out for even a second, otherwise her dogs will tear it apart and potentially make a huge mess in the cabin that I paid the deposit on. My sister told me to just tell my mum that she has to keep a close eye on her dogs, but I've tried that before, and she's proven time and time again that she's either unable to or unwilling to control her dog's behavior. Would I be the asshole if I tell my mum her food-crazed dogs are not allowed on family vacation, even though another dog will be there? In the comments, not the asshole. But just say no dogs to avoid hurt feelings. Is that an option? OP says, so my sister's dog Lola, the beautiful Pitty, gets pretty horrible separation anxiety. Last time my sister left her at a kennel, she was banned from the establishment for behavior problems. Other than that, she's a saint. I don't want her to be punished because of my mum's dog's behavior. Someone else says, nope, not the arsehole. If your mum's going to insist on her feral destructor mutts being included, she needs to book the accommodations and be responsible for the deposit. Otherwise, she's just going to have to be content with staying in the doghouse. Even if she does step up for that, I wouldn't share accommodations with animals that are so out of control. Sorry, not sorry, but I wouldn't tolerate every meal turning into a battle to keep my food. And OP says, destructor mutts made me laugh. Someone else says, and I bet Mum would blame everyone else if the dogs ate something dangerous that made them sick or killed them. OP says, my mum has bragged that her dogs ate half a box of chocolate-covered cordial cherries and didn't get sick. I'm worried she thinks they can't get sick. OP on their mother's reaction to the dog's behaviors. Says, it's the same excuse every time. They are hungry. They can tell we're eating. And she doesn't really clean up after them, but that might be my fault. She kinda stares at the mess and is like, oops, there's a mess. So I end up springing into action so nothing stains or gets more spread around than it already is. OP on their mother's dogs finding ways to get to the hamburgers. Where there's a will, there's a way. And these dogs will find a way. With the hamburger situation, I'm pretty sure they pulled out a drawer to use as a halfway point to jump up on my counter. They are smart as hell and are like tiny acrobats, but all they care about is finding food. Are the dogs house-trained? OP says, they are house-trained and are very friendly with people and other animals. The only thing I can say against them is that they are food goblins 100% of the time. I mean, I know people exactly like the mum in this situation, and I'm on OP's side here. Get those dogs the hell out of the vacation. It would suck for mum not to be on the vacation if she chooses the dogs again over the kids, which we all know is going to happen. But if you, OP, want to be the one with the deposit and the one taking that risk, then I'm on board for your house, your rules in this one. You can have a discussion with her about it to see if she'll be reasonable and understand that her dogs are goddamn demons when it comes to food, and that this is not something that you will find a middle ground on that allows the dogs to be there on the vacation with you. That due to her past actions and not doing anything about her dogs, you don't trust her and you can never trust her going forward. There's a possibility that she changes her mind and goes on the vacation without you, but I really don't think that's gonna happen. So I say, you gotta go on the vacation without her, personally. And now, onto update number 1. Packing up at the end of the vacation. A few of you asked me to update on what happened. I took the coward's way out and asked my dad to break it to her that the dogs weren't invited. He wasn't happy about it, but he said he gets it, and then he told me some mildly disturbing stuff that he was just laughing off. Like, they had bought a locked bread box for pastries on the counter that had been chewed to pieces in order to get to the cinnamon rolls inside, and they showed me a picture of the bottom of their fridge that had been extensively chewed, like the dogs were desperately biting and clawing to get inside. He stated he loves the dogs too, but could understand why someone wouldn't want them around during vacation. Dad reported Mum took it well and the dogs would stay over at their neighbors who they are good friends with. I was relieved. Everyone showed up and started unpacking except my mum, who my dad said was tying things up at the house and she would be by later. Mum didn't show up that night and I missed her. The next day, Mum did show up, but, as many commenters suspected, brought the dogs with her. She tried to play it off as nothing by giving out hugs and smiles, but I was upset. I also tried to play it cool, but I told her that her dogs were not to enter the cabin and that they could not stay the night. She waved me off with, yeah, okay, I get it. It was fine for a few hours, but then I noticed that some dirty napkins were floating around in the breeze. I discovered that the garbage bag we had tied to the picnic table had the bottom ripped out and the paper plates had been shredded and licked clean. I cleaned up the mess furious and confronted my mother and told her this is exactly why her dogs weren't invited. My mum tried to blame my sister's dog for the mess, saying, "You didn't see what happened. It could have been her." I told her that there was no way I would blame Lola for the mess, since her dogs are known for doing this kind of thing. My mum clammed up and said, "Fine, I'll just take them home," and left with the dogs. My dad wasn't happy after that, saying I didn't have any proof and I went too hard on her. My uncle thought that it was funny and he was glad not to have the little bastards trying to steal his hot dog. It put a damper in the whole trip. I just feel like an idiot for trying to make this work in the first place. I miss my mum, and I wanted to make family memories, but it really does feel like the dogs and my mum are a package deal now, and asking her to leave them even for a short time was never an option. A lot of people said this in the comments. I don't think I was ready to hear it yet. Thanks for being so responsive, and the comments really did help me see the reality of the situation that I'm in now. And now, onto the final update. Things have escalated, and I'm done. I'm just going to jump right in and try to keep it short. I talked with my sister about the chance of my mum's dogs getting sick or dying from eating out of the trash. My mum's always gotten along better with my sister, so I asked her if there was any point in trying to talk to her about getting her dogs trained. She set up a dinner at Wingstop for the three of us. I directly asked my mum at dinner if she fed her dogs dog food or only people food. She got offended and said, yes, of course I feed them 2 cups of food for lunch and dinner. I told her that 4 cups of food was already a lot of food for 2 small dogs on top of getting table scraps. My mum said that she didn't want to discuss her dogs any further, but my sister jumped in and said that the dogs were why she invited her. She said that she had done some research on dog trainers and found an affordable program. She offered to pay for it in full. All my mum would have to do is take them. Mum said that was very generous of her, but didn't accept or deny it. My mum started looking nervous and said that she'd forgotten to do something and needed to take off early. I thought, well, we tried. Let her leave. My sister followed her outside and I settled the bill. When I left, I saw my mum and my sisters were still there and her dogs were doing small laps around my mum's legs. I was extremely confused. I just kinda stood there dumbfounded like, how the hell did they get here? My sister was yelling at my mum that I would never do something like this to Lola. This is completely unacceptable. My mum yelled back, it's less than 60 degrees out, and it's nighttime. They were fine. My sister fired back, so if we hadn't made you mad, how long would you have left them out here while we were eating? My mum ignored her, grabbed her dogs in a huff, and left. My sister was fuming, saying she was lucky nobody saw her dogs in the car, otherwise my mum would be dealing with the police. I wish I could say I was surprised that my mum had left her dogs in the car, but I wasn't. I've texted her a couple of times since then, but she's not responding to anything my sister or I send her. I won't be updating again. Everyone is mad at each other, and I don't see anything positive coming out of this situation. I'm gonna take some advice of the commenters and just let her go. I tried my best to include and help her, and it only made everything even more awful. In the comments, your mum seems to have lost all reason when it comes to the dogs, and she's not caring for them properly. Is this standard behavior from your mum, or something new and exciting to deal with? OP says, she's always been soft-spoken but extremely stubborn. Like, you can tell her something and she'll say, yeah, okay, sure, but she's just gonna do whatever she was gonna do in the first place. We had cats as kids, so the dogs are a new addition to the situation. Someone else replies to that, I'm gonna ask this, but please understand that the sleepy edible just kicked in, so the phrasing might not come across the best. It's coming from a good place though. Growing up, did you guys get what you needed emotionally, physically, all of that stuff that you needed from her? Her being this weird about the dogs is giving some do-over energy, and I want to make sure that if that's the case, you're supported in whatever she's feeling this guilty about. OP says, I'm not sure if that's the case or not, to be honest with you. When we were kids, my parents were super into poker, and they both worked full-time, so I didn't see them very much. I started to learn how to make casseroles and hamburger helper for dinner because oftentimes it would just be me and my sister. When I was 6, I noticed my mum stopped doing my laundry, so I started doing it for myself. Teacher would ask me why I didn't have a lunch packed. Truth was, my mum and dad didn't do it or make me do it, so I just didn't do it. I don't think she feels bad about it though. I brought this stuff up to her before, and she said it sounds like a pretty normal childhood. Another commenter says, you'll be back with a final update when one of the dogs chokes on a bone, because that's what it's eventually gonna come to, sadly. And OP says, I really hope not, but I think you're right. And Diggity says, I said this in one of the updates, and I'll say it here again. People who act this way will not be reasoned with. Whether it's pets or children, they refuse to see how their actions or inactions are causing harm and will often double down when confronted. That said, OP and sister were absolutely correct in trying to intervene, and OP is right to set boundaries. From my perspective, and this is just my opinion, that is absolutely 100% true. And I don't know if OP realizes it or not, but that commenter who talked about the mum feeling like this is a do-over and that the mum is potentially just trying to make up for whatever guilt she's been through before or failed to do so in the past. I feel like that's true. I feel like they're onto something there. And diggity do, I completely agree. There's a lot of people who do not care that their actions and their inactions when it comes to children and pets are causing harm. And you trying to correct their behavior might as well be you insulting them to their face because you're just talking to a brick wall that gets offended that reality comes its way. I really am sad that she came to the vacation at all because to me it was inevitable that this was going to happen. She's not going to be sane. She's not going to be a reasonable person. Why do you even bother? Like, maybe it takes you many times of being hurt, of being let down by your mother, before you realize it's better to just separate from them, have strict, hard boundaries, and not have the dogs around ever. Because, yeah, she's gonna kill one of those dogs eventually. It's gonna happen. It's not an if, it's a when. She left those dogs in the car when she easily could have left the dogs at home with Dad. She could have left them in an air-conditioned, nice environment, but no, for some reason the dogs have to come with her everywhere. Come hell or high water, she will do everything and anything in her power that will make her feel good, because it's about how she feels at the end of the day. That's the type of person that OP's mum is in this situation. Doesn't matter what's best for anyone else around her, as long as it's best for her and her emotions, that's what's gonna happen. Thanks for sharing the story, OP. I'm, again, so sorry you had to go through all of that. I hope this is a lesson learned for you as to where the boundaries need to be with her. And I really hope you don't come back with another update in the future. OP has deleted their account, so there's a pretty good chance they won't come back. Thanks for the story. Thanks for the update. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.